channel, but in the digital world, I usually go by the name Decade, and I've been doing that for roughly 20 years now. This video is to explain what this channel and this series is going to be about, and it's also going to give you a little bit of information about who I am and why I feel like I'm qualified to teach you guys this. So a little quick view of who I am. I've been programming and coding for a hobby for roughly 10 years now. I started out learning just like most of you right here on YouTube. And I've taken some courses outside of YouTube. I've also went and got my degree. So yeah, this kind of started here on YouTube, and it's changed my life since then. And I figure now it's time to pass what I know on to you. Now, I will say I am not an expert. I will never claim to be an expert. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to show you, if you feel that there's a different way to do it, a better way to do it, or a more efficient way to do it, by all means, in the comments, feel free to tell me. I'm always looking to learn more things. I'm also going to have a Discord link in the description where I'm trying to start a Discord community where we can get together and share ideas and try to help each other out to get better at what we do. And it's going to be for any level. So if you're brand new at this, or if you've been doing this longer than I have, like, feel free to join Discord and, you know, help each other out. With that being said, that's about all I have for me. I will tell you that the way I try to teach things is without edits or cuts. I'll try to do that, although just as a heads up, I am married. I have 2 kids. I have dogs. I have cats. It can get pretty hectic around here. So I'm going to try to do these recordings when they're all busy or not at home, but you know, that's never always going to happen. So there may be times where I do have to do some weird cuts, or, you know, I do have to do some weird editing. I'm also going to obviously edit if something's taking a while, like downloading something or whatever. So bear that in mind. But like, if I make mistakes, I'm not going to cut out those mistakes or anything like that. So if you're following along with me, first, I do want to apologize for that. So just got that out of there. So we're good. But with that being said, let's move on to what this video is actually going to be about, and this series is actually going to be about. So I've always loved action RPG games. To date my age, I've been around since the original Nintendo. So Zelda has always been one of my favorite action RPGs, and with my favorite being A Link to the Past. So I know there's a ton of videos out there of people making A Link to the Past type games. They're awesome, and as a matter of fact, that's where I've started. My journey on programming and game design was on some of those videos, learning how to make these type of games. The problem that I've seen is a lot of those videos are now older. Unity has since changed, so you know, there's some differences now. I've also noticed that there's some things that they didn't add that I wish they would have, like, for instance, sound effects. You know, you see a ton of tutorials on YouTube, but on like how to make the game, but not how to actually make the game. So I'm going to try to dive a little bit more into things outside of just making a character move. I'm going to try to go into like the sound effects, the special abilities, and things like that. Again, as I've said before, I'm not perfect. I'm not an expert. So if I make mistakes along the way, I apologize. And if there are better ways that you feel that this could be done, again, by all means, feel free to let me know. So yeah, that's what this is going to do. This is what this series is going to do. It's going to be attempting to make a Zelda-like game. But that's all I really have for the who I am and what this is about process, or portion, I should say, of this process. So from this point on, it's going to be just the basics of how to like download Unity and stuff like that for the rest of this video. So if you already have Unity downloaded, and or if you already have Unity set up, you can likely just skip the rest of this video, as it's not really going to tell you anything. The one thing that I would like you to do before you leave is to download the assets that we're going to need. Again, I'll have a link in the description for that. But I'm also going to have those assets on the first few videos, so in case for whatever reason you didn't download them here, you'll be able to download them on those other videos. But for the rest of you, if you do not have Unity downloaded and set up, you are going to go to this website right here, unity.com, and you are going to click on download. It's going to take you to this screen right here, and you're going to go down to here where it says download the Unity Hub. You're going to match the operating system that you have, so Windows, Mac. Linux has to do a few extra steps along the way. I'm not going to get into that, but if you do have Linux and you want to download Unity Hub, you're going to click on that link and just follow all the directions and instructions, and you should be good. Once you download Unity, or the Unity Hub, I should say, you're going to get something that looks like this. Now, I do have some projects on here that I'm working on. I'm likely going to blur these out, so if you see a giant blur in this section right here, ignore that. But this is what the Unity Hub looks like. So what you're going to want to do once this is up and running is you're going to go to installs over here. From here, you are going to not have likely any Unity installs on here. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to click on Install Editor. I am going to be using Unity 6 for these tutorials, so make sure you click on Unity 6 and then click Install. Now, since I already have it installed, it's grayed out for me, but for you, it shouldn't be. What I am going to do is click on Install here, so that way you can actually see what it looks like when you click on this. So whenever you do click on Install, this stuff is going to pop up. If you do not have Microsoft Visual Studio Community 2022 on here, you do need that. If you have an IDE already on your computer, as long as it's C# capable, you can technically use it with Unity. However, Unity does recommend the Microsoft Visual Studio, so make sure you grab that if you don't already have that. Otherwise, you'll have to go to like Microsoft's website to download it directly from them. Again, not going to cover that in this video, but make sure you have that. All of these down here are different platforms that you can build onto. I have Android selected and all the options under Android. I have iOS selected, and then I have the universal Windows platform build and Windows build support. These two are what you're going to need to follow this tutorial. However, if you plan on doing anything for mobile, you're going to want to snatch these up as well. Once you're done with that, you're going to hit continue. Now, I'm not going to do it on here, but the Android stuff usually pops up with some sort of terms and conditions that you have to agree to. Once you do that, Unity will start to download. As you can see, like this version of Unity is 16.71 gigabytes. I do believe Unity 6 with these settings is a little over 17, almost 18 gigabytes. So depending on your internet speed and everything else, first off, obviously make sure you have enough room on your computer to do this. And then be prepared. This could take 15-20 minutes to download. I have fiber optic internet here, so it only took me a few minutes for Unity 6 to download, but just keep that in mind. Once you get Unity installed, you're going to go up to projects. Now again, I have some projects here that I've been working on, and again, I'll likely have these blurred out. If not, it's no big deal. It's not like it's super sensitive information or anything like that. But what you're going to do is you're going to click on New Project, and this screen is going to pop up with a whole bunch of different cores. Now, what a lot of these cores are, if you're not familiar with Unity, is exactly what they say they are. They're going to download all the stuff that you need, the packages and whatnot, to do what it is you're trying to do. So in other words, if you click on VR, I don't have it downloaded here, but if you were to click on VR, it would download all the packages and everything you need in order to make a VR game. Since we're not making a VR game, we're just making a simple 2D game. We're just going to go up to Universal 2D. We're going to click on that. Over here, you're going to see like where to save the project and all that stuff. You're just going to, for me, I'm just going to name this, let's see, what should I name this? I'm just going to name this Zelda-Like tutorial. You're going to choose a location where to put this. I already have mine set up, and again, I'm likely going to have that blurred out. And then you're going to use your, down here, you're going to choose your Unity organization. If you don't already have a Unity account, you're going to have to create a Unity account. going to ask you to create a unit, an organization. I just use my tag Decade XI. So you put whatever you need to put there. Down here, you want to connect it to the Unity cloud. This, I can't stress this enough, is kind of important because it'll start saving some stuff to the cloud. I've lost projects before due to not saving it to the cloud. So I suggest you do this. If you're not sure what it does, there you go. It lets you know what's going on. You can also access it from the cloud as well. So if you're not at your computer, it's also great if you're working as a team and other people are working on it, which we'll get into that a little bit later. Unity version control is also for like mainly working with a team. So if you hover over the question mark here, it'll tell you, it'll track the changes to your project when you collaborate with teammates. So like anything that's changed, it'll change it automatically for you on your local computer if someone else is working on it somewhere else. Since I'm doing this by myself, I don't need that, but I do have the Unity cloud. Once you have all these settings, all you have to do is hit create project, and it'll start creating your project and loading up Unity itself. Now, again, depending on your computer, depending on what core you chose, this could take a couple minutes to load up. And then as you're building your game, the more you build your game, the more content and code and everything else, the longer it's going to take for this to load up. And I've seen this load pretty quick on my computer. I've seen this take forever to load on my computer, but again, since this is opening it up for the first time, it is downloading and setting up everything that it needs to do. So yeah, I might just skip ahead for this part. Okay, so once that is done doing its thing, you will come to this screen, and this is Unity. This is what it looks like if you've never opened it before. It is actually going to open up to this layout right here. This is the default layout for Unity. As you saw up here is all your different layouts. Now I did create one because you can create your own layouts and save them. Essentially mine is just the default layout with the hierarchy taking up the entire left side, the inspector taking up the entire right side, and then all of the stuff you're going to be working on kind of in the middle. But there are tons of different ones up here. Like there's a 4 split one, there's a 2x3, there's a wide one, all one, a whole bunch of different ones on here. Plus you can create, as I said, you can create your own and save it. All you have to do is, like, if you go in between like these windows, you'll see the little arrows. You can click and drag, or you can click on one of these little tabs and drag and move them around. And once you get them to where you want to get them, you can go up to here and just hit save layout and then name it. You can make yours look just like mine if you want to, or you can set it up however you want to set it up. That is 100% up to you. Just understand where things are and what these things are. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into Unity itself. I will tell you that with that Unity hub here, let me pull that back up real fast. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see Learn. If you click on that, there is a whole bunch of different things on here that you can watch or read that will get you to get a basic understanding of Unity, and also how to essentially make your first game. So if you are brand spanking new at this, I highly recommend that you do some of these first before you follow along with this tutorial, as some of this stuff I will try to explain it to you the best that I can, but I'm not going into super detail with it. So definitely try to get some education on Unity before hopping into these tutorials, because I do not want you to get lost. If you do get lost or you do have questions, by all means feel free to ask me, either here on YouTube or hop on that Discord that I mentioned earlier and ask questions there. Again, I'm trying to build a community where it's not just me answering questions. I'd like to get some people that are experienced in this stuff to also help me out. So again, if you're an experienced user, feel free to, again, answer any questions or hop on Discord and help out as well. But yes, this is a great source. As far as I know, all of this stuff is free. There may be some ones that you have to pay for, but I've never really dove into this too much. But the ones that I did check out were free. But I will give you a quick rundown of what each of these little tabs are. So your hierarchy right here, this is anytime you add something to your scene, it's going to show up here. Like in this basic scene, you have a main camera and a global light. That's all that's in there right now. But as you start building your game, adding characters, adding backgrounds, adding tiles, and all that other stuff, you will start seeing things populate here. Which brings me to the inspector all the way over here. Anytime you click on any one of the objects that are in your scene, you're going to have different things over in the inspector. We're going to dive a lot more into this in video 1, as well as throughout this entire tutorial series. So don't get too overwhelmed or anything with this just yet, but this is the inspector that you go to add and change things to your objects in your game. Up here you see scene. This is again where we're going to be building the game. The scene view and the game view are two different things. Just keep that in mind. Speaking of game, over here is the game view. This is what the game camera is going to see. Again, we're going to dive more into that later, so don't worry too much about that. Asset store. I don't know why this is still on here because it has completely moved. But nonetheless, the asset store is, Unity has its own marketplace essentially where you can buy like characters, you can buy artwork, you can buy music, you can buy a whole bunch of different things for your game. When I say buy, I do mean purchase. Some of the stuff is free, but a lot of it is for sale. Some of it's as cheap as just a couple dollars. Some of it can get to the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on how in depth the assets are. So if you're not an artist or a musician or anything like that, but you want to get assets for your game, there's a ton of other places you can go to get them. Don't get me wrong, but the asset store is a good place to start looking. Again, I'm not going to go into details as to where you can go to get a lot of these assets, which we will talk about some assets here in just a minute. But nonetheless, that's what that is. Down here is your project and your console. Your project is the folders for your project and also where you're going to be putting a lot of your artwork, a lot of your scripts, just anything that's going to be in your game is all going to be in project under folders. We'll go over this a little bit more here shortly, but you want to try to keep this as organized as possible. Right now, there's barely anything in here because this is just a blank slate. But as you start adding stuff, this can get very disorganized. It can get very confusing, and it could actually slow down your workflow if things are way all over the place. So try to keep this all organized as much as you can. Lastly, your console. So your console is just at your console. Any errors that pop up, anything in code that you say to print a console, all that stuff is going to pop up here. We are going to be using the console a lot. So yeah, make sure you have that on here. Speaking of windows, if they're not, or tabs, I should say, well, they're windows, I guess. If they are not on here, you can go up to Windows, and then all these different windows are options that you can add on to your overall screen here, which we are going to be doing that. I do believe in video 2, if I remember my plan out correctly. But nonetheless, we will be adding some windows and tabs, all this stuff. But that's where you would go to add anything that is missing. Outside of that, let's do a little bit of prepping for the next video here. You're going to want to come down to project. You want to make sure you're on assets, and somewhere you're going to right click and you're going to see this little menu pop up. We're going to go to create, and we're going to do this a lot because you're going to be creating scripts, you're going to be creating tile maps, you're going to be creating a whole bunch of different things. So get used to this. But we're going to go to create, and for now we're just going to do a folder. We're going to name this folder art and then hit enter. And we're going to do this a couple more times just for now to get started and prep for the next video. We're going to hit create and folder again. We're going to name this scripts. And then we're going to do this one last time. And we're going to type in prefabs. I will go over prefabs in another video. And we are going to be adding more folders as we go along. But for right now, these are the main ones that you're going to need for the next couple of videos. I think that's it for right now. So this is where I'm going to end this video. Before I completely end the video, please download the assets. They will be down below in the description. You will need those in order to follow along with this tutorial. If you have your own assets, hey, that's awesome. You can use those if you want. However, some of the animation ones that we do later, animation videos and tutorials that we do later, they might not add up the same way. So please download those assets. You are going to need those. The other thing, please join Discord if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you want to try to help me out by helping others. That's where you're going to want to go. So again, that link is going to be down below. And then lastly, if you guys like this video, give it the big old thumbs up. And if you want to follow along with this series and any other tutorials that I release, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell as well, so that way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. With that being said, that's all I have for this video. So as always, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.